Hello, my precious students, and welcome to New Obsidian Duel Academy. I am the headmistress, Lady Cerisa, and today I have something rather special to share. Well, something uniquely special. As many of you may know, I'm massively into playing Windwitch. As a result, I come up with really odd Windwitch variants builds. Some of them competitive and some of them for just casual play. That's where this video comes into play. Today, I'm proud to introduce Windwitch Libromancer. Why Libromancer, you asked? Well, why not? This variant is a bit of a control combo deck with specific aspects that you would have to ignore to get this build to work, which also makes this deck incredibly hard to pilot. For more detail, let's get into the deck profile. Right, so the deck is a 40 card deck with a 15 card extra deck and a 50 card side deck, meeting standard competitive play, but I would hold off bringing this to a YCS and maybe just bring this to a locals if you will just want to have a bit of fun. For part of the deck, I want to point out a combo that is in here, which uses incantation. We use the incantation chalice line to search off incantation talisman, which we both use one of each, because after it you don't really need it anymore. So in order to avoid drawing it, we run both cards at once. So as you see, we have incantation talisman at 1, which this card, when it's summoned, you kind of just, well, when there's special summon, I should say rather, you kind of just search off either the Libromancer or Doombroker, which 9 times out of 10 you won't have to do, or the Illusion of Chaos, which you will more than likely search off of that card. Then we also have one copy of Red-Haired Hasty Horse, which is just a fair extender and an flex slot, essentially, in the deck. So you can actually replace this with any other card in the deck if you wanted to. Then we also have one Windwitch Blizzard Bell, which we actually do use this card fairly often. We still run it at 1 because we don't want to see it in our hand. However, this is a summon target that you probably wouldn't expect off of Ice Bell. Then we have one copy of Libromancer Fire, which doesn't have too many uses in the deck, but we still run it in the off chance that we open this with a ritual and need to get our Geek Boy out. Then we have one Dinotherium, which is a free extender, level 4. However, if your opponent has the option to, they can special summon a level 4 from either graveyard when you special summon this card from your hand. So be wary of that. Then we also have 2 copies of Windwitch Glassbell. In a pure Windwitch build, this is a dedicated normal summon, which means we run 3 copies, but in this, we don't have to worry about using this as a dedicated normal summon, even though we can. However, we still want to make sure we don't see this card as often in case we need to go into our Crystal Wings Synchro Dragon play. Then we also have one copy of Pelika Descendant Augusto. We needed another Psychic type monster or another card that we have in the deck. And what better than Pelika for an extension synchro play. Granted, it does have to be a wind tuner, and you do run 2 wind tuners, or actually technically you run 3 because Blizzard Bell is a tuner. Then we have a playset of Windwitch Icebell. Windwitch Icebell is important in this deck because, well, it's a free extender, or play starter I should say rather, that gets you into your level 8 synchros. However, you're thinking maybe, oh yeah, you use Ice Bell to get Glass Bell. However, in this deck, you want to avoid using Glass Bell, at least until the end. So you kind of can get away with getting rid of Red-Haired Hasty Horse to have 3 glass spells so that you can turn around and use her as a normal summon to get other plays and then just, synchro off of her. But no, what we really do is we actually summon Windwitch Ice Spell and then special summon Blizzard Bell from the deck, which sounds a little bit weird and off in itself. However, it's not that big of a deal. This goes into a really quick level 8 synchro, and if you already have tuner monsters in the graveyard, you're only locked from the extra deck. So you can summon any level 8 synchro that's wind, but any monster that you summon from your deck or graveyard can be any attribute, which is why we actually use Blizzard Bell in this combo line rather than using Glass Spell. And we use Glass Spell at the end of the turn to search off maybe another Ice Spell for the Crystal Wing synchro play the next turn if we already have a Glass Spell in hand, and then we also turn around and use Glass Spell for another synchro summon, usually with Geek Boy, but we'll get into that later. Another flex slot card in this deck, which you don't really necessarily need, but it does make some synchro plays fairly easy, especially with one particular combo play. So we run 2 copies of Revolution Synchron. Or 1 copy. Did I say 2 copies? I think I said 2 copies. 1 copy. 1 copy of Revolution Synchron for this combo that I will get into later. Next is Libromancer Geek Boy, which is one of the main play starters in Libromancers. So we do run 2 copies, but we don't run any more copies because of the lack of ritual monsters that we run, despite the fact of how searchable each ritual monster is. Next we come and we play 2 copies of Assault Synchron. If you could fit tuning in this deck, I would highly recommend it, because this is what tuning would search for in a particular combo, which I'll get later on. Now, mind you, I will probably explain only one possible card combo, and I think this one would be the most fascinating one. Right, so we'll also be running 2 copies of Windwitch Snowbell, because this is a card that we kind of want to see in our hand, but we don't want to brick on it either. Reason being is that because you're running other attributes in the deck, it's going to be fairly hard to get 2 or more wind monsters on the build and no other wind monsters for its summon. So if you get 2 wind monsters and no other types, you want to summon this card right away, so if it's already in your starting hand. Next we also play Magician's Souls, which is a free extender, and we also use this card for its draw advantage. Usually you use it after you've already done your Libromancer plays, so you can dip the field spell and then 1 extra spell or trap that you may not be using at the time. Then, as I mentioned before, we do have the 1 Incantation Chalice line for the Incantation Salamandra, 1 Illusion of Chaos, which is part of the combo that I explained earlier, and then 1 Libromancer Doombroker, and you don't really need any more. If you need any more than that, well, guess what? You're in trouble. Then we also have 1 copy of Change of Heart. I have seriously considered replacing this card, despite that last week's video was all about Change of Heart. Then we also play 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. I did run 3, but someone advised me that it was better to run 2 rather than 3, and I found really great results in that. So, like, I've been having this rule of thumb where instead of running 3 and then 1 called by, I run 2 and 1 called by. There's other cards you could probably run with this, but that's personal preference at that point, and I'm not a fan of one of the suggestions that I usually get, but I won't go into that. Then we also have 2 copies of Dark Ruler No More, in case we lose the die roll, but we also don't want to draw into this card going first. So it's kind of like a hit or miss, and then we do swap it off for maybe some hand traps going first again, and so on and so forth. Then we have 2 copies of Summon Storm. This card is great when you open up with Geek Boy, but you also open it with this and no rituals, because then you can summon this for Geek Boy, but it also plays in a free extender with your Windwitch and other wind monster of the deck. Based on mathematics, you're going to be able to use this card fairly often. However, if you do lower the list of wind monsters, I would highly suggest removing this card for something else. Then we also have 3 copies of Preparation of Rites, which is fairly important for your Libromancer plays, so you definitely want to run this at 3. If you run any less than this, then you're going to be in serious trouble and wondering why you're trying to go fishing without a fishing rod. Then again, as I mentioned before, we have 1 copy of Call by the Grave. If it wasn't limited to 1, we would run more of this, but I digress. Then we have 3 copies of Emergency Teleport. I have this weird rule that if you're using this for a dedicated card, you're going to use 3 and 3. I don't know why I have this rule. I don't understand my reasoning, considering mathematically you would be better off just doing something completely different. However, this card is extremely important for Geek Boy, so that mathematically equation trains into something else where you basically end up running 5 copies of Geek Boy rather than just the 2. The same goes with Pilica. Now you're running 4 copies of Pilica rather than just the 1, which gives you options for more extenders. There is another deck build where I'm doing something very similar, where I am still running the Pilica, but I'm also running a Psychic Hand Trap, making it Hand Trap, which I'm running 2 of, a 5 of. It's kind of scary, but it's not a very good hand trap. It's more for disruption, so we're just gonna move on from there. But not in this deck, completely different deck build. And as for the field spell, we actually do run 3 copies of Libromancer First Appearance. This card, as you probably well know, is fairly important for Libromancers, and usually you search it through Geek Boy so that you don't have to worry so much about it. However, if you don't open up with Geek Boy, it's better off to be able to get fire off of First Appearance and then try to do other plays. Otherwise, if you don't use Get Fire, the other option is still Doom Broker, and also probably more highly recommended. But that's if you already have Doom Broker in your hand, then you go for Fire. And then we also have 1 copy of Libromancer Intervention, as it is kind of like an Omni-Negate. It does have to bring Broker back, or any Libromancer back to the hand, but it is what it is. Now for the extra deck. We do have 1 copy of Ching. However, you may not be banishing that much. However, you could potentially do more if you manage to get Chin out on the board, which these 2 copies right here these 2 cards have a tendency to happen in hand. Not always, but they do have a good priority in that regard. Then we have 1 copy of Crystalline Synchro Dragon, because since Barone got banned, that's the only other card that Windwitches can make, other than maybe Cyber/Harpy Lady, and because we're using Intervention, we can use Cyber/Harpy Lady as another disruption. Is it a good disruption? No, but it's the best that we have in terms of wind monsters. And then we also have XL Synchro Stardust Dragon. With Stardust Dragon, we actually use this combo line to get our Chin out. And it's actually fairly cool. It does work, and if we can get Shin out in that same combo line, then we are in good regards. Then we also have one Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, one Wind Pegasus at Ignister for our Windwitch plays, one Ancient Fairy Dragon for a combo to use this as a Fairy Extender. No, you do not use this with your field spell. If you use this with your field spell, you're kind of wasting it because you only have one field spell. However, if you decide to, I don't know, run one Secret Village of the Spellcasters, you might get some use of this, but I would not recommend that. And then we also have one Golden Cloud Beast, Long, who has some level manipulation and is a synchro tuner, making your synchro plays a little bit easier. Another level 6 we have is Stardust Charge Warrior, which gives us an extra draw. The other card that deals with another combo, I can remember everything to that details of combo line. This card is amazing. This card lets you get your other synchro cards in a combo because we do run Junk Speeder, and we use it as a synchro material. And this card with the other combo gets us into a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, as well as another synchro, or another potential synchro. Then we also have one copy of Formula Synchron. This card doesn't always pop up, and is replaceable, but it is good for the extra draw. Plus it's a level 2 Synchron to go into another level 8 or whatever. Then we have Dynamo Mondo. I don't think this card actually is that important. Personally, I don't use it that often. I actually use the next card more so, SP Little Knight, because, you know, that's kind of a staple in a lot of decks, and it just proves a lot of utility right there. So, as for the side deck, I feel like it's pretty standard. Side deck's going to change depending on what you're playing, or what you're playing against, and the current format. So this is always going to be changing, but I'm going to give you my side deck regardless, which is 2 copies Nibiru, 3 copies of Ash, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, an extra triple Tech Talents if we need it, and an extra Dark Ruler No More in case we need it, 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclo for back row hate, 2 copies of Crossout Designator. This is combo heavy, so we do want to make sure we protect ourselves, so some of those flex slots will be used for Nibiru or Ash Blossom if we can get the Crossout Designator for games 2 and 3. And then finally 3 copies of Evenly Matched, since we are in a board breaker format, I believe. But yeah, that is pretty much the deck list. As for the combos, I'm going to do something fairly simple. I'm just going to grab these 2 cards. I'm going to just explain one combo, and hopefully you guys can see the other combos overall. So we're going to go into our test hand settings, make sure we're doing 2 cards. Yes, again, this is a 2-card combo, but for this 2-card combo, we're going to activate our emergency teleport, and then we're actually going to get our Geek Boy. Geek Boy's effect activates, we get our Libromancer first appearance in our hand, activate Libromancer appearance, add a Libromancer, we then get our Tomb Broker, and this is only going to be a partial combo line, because obviously you're going to have more cards in your hand. We're going to go ahead and activate Assault Synchron. Assault Synchron effect activates. We then tune our Assault Synchron with our Geek Boy to get Junk Speeder. Anywhere Junk Speeder can go. Junk Speeder effect, we get Revolution Synchron and another Assault Synchron. And then we can use Revolution Synchron with our Junk Speeder to Synchro Summon Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Now there is other combos you could do, but this is only a partial combo. Let's see what other combos we can do. We're going to go ahead and put a Revolution Synchron and our Emergency Teleport back. The other combo that helps out a lot, I'm going to go with Incantation Chalice Slime. And then we're going to actually put Emergency Teleport. And then we're going to go ahead and do the test hand again. Granted, I know I focus a lot on Windwitches, so I'm trying to avoid those combo lines because they get a little complicated, and I'm trying to simplify some of these combo lines. However, these combo lines are very specific to hands, so I'm giving you guys small examples. So first we're going to go ahead and activate Chalice Slime. Discard Chalice Slime for Talismandra. We're gonna also chain, because I believe... Okay, no, that stops you from special summoning monsters. Okay, so I will just go ahead and chain Emergency Teleport and get our Geek Boy. And then we'll get Illusion of Chaos, Geek Boy's effect. We get First Appearance, activate First Appearance, add a Libromancer. Now we could just get Fire for this, and if you have any tuners you can play more, but for simplicity's sake we're going to go ahead and get Doombroker, Illusion of Chaos effect, we reveal it, Magician Souls, Send Chaos, activate Souls, Special Summon, activate First Appearance, and now because of this you have so much versatility, so your extenders can be a huge play in this. However, for simplicity's sake, just get rid of the souls, or use the souls. You got this card, which we don't really need. Activate Doombroker's effect. We get Intervention, and then we'll just go ahead and get SP Little Knight. And then that's just a fair, decent 2-card combo. Again, a lot of these combos gonna be changed and altered depending on what you're doing. So I hope this gives you a fairly decent idea of how Windwitch Libromancer kind of works. So far as you remember, don't use Glass Spells effect. Since this deck is really hard to pilot, a simple Ash to the right card could be devastating. The other issue with this deck is that it's incredibly hand reliant, as you probably have noticed. However, due to its uniqueness, this deck can catch a lot of players off guard. So once a player learns the combo lines, how to work around the type of hands they would get, this deck can do a lot with a lot of potential. Thanks for checking out my Windwitch Libromancer deck. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas on improving this deck. Please feel free to share in the comments below. If you like this video, then hit that like button and subscribe for more new Obsidian Duel Academy content. Class dismissed.